I'm here with Juan from Social Lab here
Hello,
in
everybody.
Mexico City. So tell us a little bit about Social Lab for those of you who haven't heard about it already.
Of course, well, thank you for the interview, Mario.
Yeah.
Social Lab is a platform that supports social entrepreneurs. We are actually the largest network of early stage accelerators in Latin America. We have offices in 7 different countries, all the way from Chile to Mexico, and a lot of countries in between. And basically what we do is we have an acceleration program where we find entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs with ideas. We give them funding and also a 6-month program in which we help them build their own social enterprises. So we start from zero, from an idea, and go all the way up to a business. In Mexico, Social Lab is also it's the brother company of or the sister company of Disruptivo, which is also a media platform, a content platform that promotes social entrepreneurship through social media, YouTube, blogs, podcasts, all different kinds of content. So we do the content, the media, and also the acceleration process to have more and more social businesses.
Nice. And last week we were talking a little bit about how one of the challenges in Mexico you were saying is defining what a social impact business is. So for you, like what would be the difference between, say, a normal business versus a non-for-profit versus a social impact business?
Yeah, of course. Well, regular businesses, traditional businesses, even if they are high tech or not, they are focused on one thing, which is maximizing profit, right? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't really matter what you sell. You can be selling plants, or you could be selling sodas, whatever, as long as you're making money. And that's it. That's the whole point. Some businesses are social responsible businesses, so they have, community work, or they have company policies for their employees. But the focus of the business itself is not creating impact; it's to earn profits. Now, on the other side of the scale, you have non-profits, right? And they are the completely opposite. And what they're looking for is impact. They look to create impact and to solve social issues. However, they are not sustainable. So normally they depend on donations, either corporate donations or government funding or individual donors to implement their programs. They don't sell products or services. So you have these two kind of organizations on both sides. And so far, none of them have been able to solve our society's issues, right? We still have poverty, we still have inequality, we still have discrimination. So there was, a few years ago, there was an idea, well, not some few, but like 30 years ago, started this new idea of combining the best elements of both of them and creating businesses, for-profit businesses, but that are focused on solving society's biggest issues. So that's what it basically is, a social enterprise, a business, a regular business that sells, that have products, services, marketing, that makes investments. So it's a for-profit company, but its final focus is not to create a profit, but to actually solve a problem. Obviously, they use profit as a tool to get there. They build, or we try to build scalable and profitable businesses, but as a means to the end, which is to solve an issue. And it's very different from non-profits because you don't depend on donors or on third parties. You have to depend on your clients buying your stuff. So it's a good combination. It's something that is growing a lot in the world, especially Latin America is seeing a boom of these social businesses. And I think, personally, it's a trend that is going to give us a lot to talk about in the next 10, 20, 50 years.
Yeah, and I think for those of you who don't know, social impact enterprises or startups, I think the benefit is that they're able to scale much more than a non-for-profit.
Yeah.
So they're able to, in some ways, I feel if they're successful, have more of an impact rather than a non-for-profit.
Yeah, that's the whole idea behind it. I mean, I worked for non-profits for a long time. And when you're in a non-profit, you get a donation, you go out to the field, you implement your program, but you don't charge for it. Yeah. So what do you have at the end? You have zero, you have nothing. So you have to go out again and ask for donations again and start from scratch. Now when you have a social business, you get funding or you get investment or something. You go out to the field, you sell your product, you solve a social issue, and you charge for it. So you got money to go to the next community and to the next and to the next and to the next. So it's a self-sustainable business. You don't have to depend on third parties. Maybe like any other business, you have to get investment in the beginning or crowdfunding or whatever. But eventually, you do have to build a business model that can self-sustain, and that will help you to reach more people. And then, I mean, if you think of it like that, then definitely you'll be able to grow faster than nonprofits. You'll be able to nonprofits. It's not that they are bad organizations, but they have a lot of limitations.
Yeah.
They can't invest in marketing. They can't invest. They can pay good salaries. They can't invest in financial resources. So all the money that you have or that you get from donations, you have very specific ways to use that money, because it's a donation. Whoever is giving you the money has to report back to the government. My donations are going specifically to build this house, but it doesn't let you to use that money to make a marketing campaign to make more money to build not one but 10 houses. That's the big dilemma of nonprofits, and for-profit social businesses jump over all of these barriers because they are a business. And let's be very clear about this: social businesses are businesses, right? They are not. They have to sell. They have to be profitable. You have to have employees. You have to have finance. You have to have marketing. So you work just as a business would. But instead of just doing it for the profit, you do it to solve a social issue, right? So it's, in a way, it's I think it's sort of like, then it's like a new version of philanthropy. What if philanthropy learned all the savvy that business has to make their solutions larger, bigger, faster, and even better? And I think it's a little bit of the evolution of philanthropy towards growing more. There are some areas in which philanthropy is necessary, and it will always be. I don't think it's a replacement, but it's a complement, and it will get some places where philanthropy could never go. So I think it's very interesting. It's a very interesting movement.
And for our younger viewers that are watching who are considering a career or maybe even starting their own venture, what would be like one advice to considering if this is something for them?
Well, I think it's a very good question. There's a million things that I would tell you. I think that the most important part to consider this is if you were already thinking of going into business and creating your own business, or if you've seen in your school or during your college years, if you found that there are problems outside that you'd like to solve, either way, social business it's a path for you. So if you've always wanted to create a business, this is it. Like, I'm not asking you to become Mother Teresa. If you've ever thought about building a business, this is a way of doing it, but instead of just making money, you'll be also building a better world. And if you're on the other side, and if you want to solve a problem, maybe there's a way to build a business model around that problem. So if you're either or, there are a lot of people that don't want to get involved with either businesses or social work. But if you're one or the other, then it's a good way to build your career. Now, that's not an advice actually for you, but the advice for any entrepreneur, whatever, I think would be just to take the jump. If you're interested in building a business, just go for it. I think that's the best advice someone can ever give you.
Nice. And for anyone who wants to join Social Lab or get involved with Social Lab, what's the best way to either reach you or any social lab in Latin America?
Well, of course, we are in obviously all of the social networks. There's a couple of confusions with our name, so we're just at Social Lab with one L. I think in Facebook we are sociallab.com, but easier. Let's go back, forget whatever I said. If you go to sociallab.com, that's our site, and you have all of our social networks there. Specifically, if you want to know from Mexico more, Social Lab MX, that's in all the networks, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, a couple of others more. We have a lot of content. We have a blog with a lot of information for social entrepreneurs. And also, if you want to know more, maybe you don't want to go into an acceleration program yet, you don't have a project or an idea, you just want to learn more, there's a lot of information at disruptivo.tv. There's a lot of free programs, video, audio, blogs. There's a lot of free stuff there that you can check out. We've interviewed over 200 social entrepreneurs all over the world. So there's a lot of information for you there. just go out, check it out, and maybe Social Lab eventually is for you. But if it's not right now, Disruptivo definitely is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll include the links in the
Awesome.
videos. So thanks so much.
Yeah, no, thank you.